ahead and shine, darling, go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up, just shine. You shouldn't doubt yourself, 'cause you're a work of art.
Hey Lash Babes, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the difference between the take back method and the lashing and layers method. I know I get a lot of questions on how to do the lashing and layers for a fill, and I feel like a lot of people confuse both of these and don't really understand the difference between both of them. So first things first, remember, when it comes to dealing with tape, you want to make sure that you are always rubbing it on the back of your hand. You want to make sure that the center of the tape, you are removing the extra stickiness. So for this part of the video, I'm going to show you guys how to do a fill, and I do have a full-on video talking about the taping back methods. There's lots of techniques on how to use tape to your advantage, but for this first half, I'm going to show you guys how you can do a fill using tape. So as you guys can see, I pretty much just use tape to tape back her lashes, and this is going to help expose the bottom layer. This helps if you are doing a fill. I don't recommend for you to try to do the lashing and layers. When it comes to doing a fill, it's just gonna be a hot mess, especially when you're dealing with a lot of lashes like this. My client came back with amazing retention, and as you can see, there's no way that you can go and do the lashing and layers with actual extensions on, because if you try to get all those extensions and try to work within the layers, you're gonna end up yanking lashes. So at least for a fill, you want to be using the tape back method, and that is pretty much what you're doing. Is you're going to be taping up the lashes and exposing the bottom layer. And look how easy it is for me to just go in there and start placing the extensions. If you are used to working one eye at a time, like how it kind of looks like in this video, then it'll be easier, because then it'll be less of your lashes being able to stick to each other. At least for me, I still like to work back and forth between both eyes to give that extension that you just placed enough time to dry. So I am going back and forth. It just looks like I'm not, and I'm only working on one eye because I'm only focusing on one eye. So give yourself enough time to make sure that that extension is drying, and go back and forth between both eyes. So I'm not going to go too much into detail on the styles and the sets that I did in today's video, because obviously this is not a step-by-step tutorial. I have done a wispy cat eye video, which is similar mapping to this one. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about the style that I did, because again, I'm just showing you guys how easy it is for me to pretty much get in the last layer and be able to just isolate beautifully without having to sit there and fight with all the extensions. Normally for a fill, especially if you're dealing with over 60% of retention, there's so much, so many lashes. So being able to tape back those lashes and pretty much expose the bottom layer is going to help tremendously. And especially, you always want to make sure that you are always lashing the bottom layer, because that's what creates that density, that fullness that you are looking for. So now, as you can see, I was able to lash at least what I could, and then I'm gonna brush her out, and then I'm gonna pull back the outer corners, and this is gonna expose the outer corners. As you guys can see, this just pretty much helped me get right into those outer corners without having to fight and struggle with all those extensions. And again, this is a perfect way if you do struggle with isolation, or if you are struggling on time, especially when doing fills. At least for me, I like to give myself 2 hours to do a fill. I know a lot of people think that's way too much time, but if you want to get 100% coverage even for a fill, you want to be making sure that you give yourself enough time to really get in there. So as you can see, I am not having any issues getting in on the outer corners, and I did end up using my sensitive tape, which you can purchase on my website. I do have it in pink and in white. I do have the large rolls and I have the small rolls. So depending on the kind that you want to get, I have options. But for the tape back, as you can see, I am using the small roll And as you can see, this tape is really sensitive, that it doesn't yank out the extensions, and you can clearly see that I'm using my tweezers as a guide to remove the extensions that are stuck on the tape. So if you rub the tape enough times on the back of your hand, there should be no reason why you are yanking at the extensions. But if in case they are yanking, the tape is yanking, then you want to make sure that you are using your tweezers as a guide to help remove it off the tape. And then now, as you can see, I'm going to get in the inner corners, and this pretty much just helped expose those inner corners. And as you can see, it's a lot easier for me to just really get in there. So this is normally how I like to go about a fill, especially when you are dealing with a lot of lashes. It pretty much just helps you get in there, and it's just like the easiest way to go about it. So I will say the one thing I don't recommend, especially when you are dealing with tape, is that some tapes will not work for this, just because some tapes are a little too strong for it. At least for me, the worst kind of tape that I've ever used for the tape back method would be the Nichibon tape. That one is probably the worst tape that you can use, especially when it comes to taping back the lashes. Also, the blue Next Care sensitive tape, you are gonna have to rub it on the back of your hand quite a few times, like a lot of times, for you to remove that excess stickiness off the tape. The one that I have found that works really nice is my tape, and I'm not saying it to try to sell you guys on my tape, but I'm just saying, like, I don't struggle when using my tape, especially if you are doing it the right way. You are rubbing it on the back of your hand, at least the center. That way it kind of just helps remove that stickiness. And once you guys are done pretty much lifting the middle, the outer, and the inner corners, then you could just go in and get in there pretty much anything that is left over, like on the top layers. It'll be easier for you just to isolate and really get in there, as you guys can see. So I know I kind of rushed through this, only because I have done a taping methods or taping technique video where I go more into depth in that video. So I will have the link for you guys if you guys are interested. I pretty much go step by step, and I also show different techniques in that video on how to go about it. So you're pretty much just gonna finish her up. I'm using the London Lash Super Bonder, and that is pretty much it for this set. So now we're gonna jump into doing the actual lashing in layers, which the method is completely different. It looks similar, but I promise you guys it's completely different. So here, as you can see, it looks like she has lashes on, and that is because I am doing a wispy set on her. So for her, it's the same method applies. We're gonna start off with the middle section, so it doesn't really matter if you don't get the outer corner lashes. I'm going to be focusing mainly on the middle section, and as you can see, I pulled up, and it doesn't matter if the outer corners and inner corners are coming out, it's okay. I want to focus it mainly on the middle section. Then you're going to grab your mirror and you're going to check to see if her eyes are open. If they are open, then you want to make sure that they are pretty much fully closed. So I am also going to be linking the video on how to lash in layers. In that video, I do go more into depth, and this video, I'm just showing you guys the difference, because there is a huge difference when it comes to it. So like I mentioned earlier, you never want to do the lashing in layers for a fill, only for full sets. This technique only works for full sets, because again, you're going to be pulling back all her lashes. So for this video, it's kind of a little difficult because she already had extensions on, but I have gotten a lot of questions on if you are able to do this technique with a wispy set. So yes, you can. As you can see, I already had spikes, so I pretty much just pull them up so I can start working on the bottom layer. So for this technique, you can use it for classics, hybrids, volume, mega volume, wispy sets. It really doesn't matter, because again, we're working within the layers. And I know a lot of people get confused when I say working within the layers. People think that I'm putting different numbers within the layers of her lashes. But no, what I mean by that is that I am pretty much working on the bottom layer first. And then once I'm done with that one, I'm going to end up pulling out the second layer. And then I'm going to work on the second layer. And then as you guys can see here, I'm pretty much pulling down the second layer. So my client only has 2 layers, so that's literally what I'm working with. If your client has more layers, then obviously you'll get more of a denser look. So as you can see here, I'm just pulling out what I can, and then I'm going to start working on that. So the reason why I'm working this way is because, again, it helps with isolation. It helps so you're able to just really get in there and not focus too much on isolating. That is the number one reason why I do it and why I teach it, especially for beginners, because it's such a headache when you look at somebody's natural lashes and they have so many of them. Doing the tape back method, doing the lashing and layers will pretty much just help go step by step, lash one lash at a time, and not focus on all the lashes that she has. So this is a great way if you are struggling with all those lashes. I promise you guys, it'll just make your job so much easier. If you do want to do different numbers within the layers to create a different look, then you could go for that. I do have a couple videos of me doing different techniques when lashing and layers, so I will have all those videos linked down below for you guys. But as you guys can see, it's so easy doing it this way. And I know I'm kind of rushing through it, I'm sorry guys, but in this video I'm not really doing a tutorial. I'm just showing you guys how easy it is to really get in there. So again, I'm using my tweezers to really get in there and remove those extensions off the tape. You don't want to just be trying to go and then yank all those extensions off the tape, so you want to be gentle with it. And again, the tape that I'm using is my sensitive tape, so it is meant for sensitive people. It's gentle enough and it doesn't tug or pull. So now that I worked on the first layer, then I'm gonna pretty much finish off with the inner and outer corners and whatever was left on the first layer in the center. So as you guys can see, it's a lot easier for me to just get in here and just pretty much finish whatever else I did not touch in the beginning. So now I'm just going to put some music for you guys to enjoy the rest. I think at this point it's pretty much self-explanatory, as you guys can see. Nothing much to talk about. Again, I'm going to have the videos linked down below for you guys, and pretty much the difference between both of them is that if you are doing a full set, I recommend for you to lash in layers, and for a fill, do the tape back methods and use tape to your advantage to pretty much help move those extensions out of the way. That way you can pretty much get in there a lot better. So I am just gonna put some music here and let you guys enjoy the rest of the video. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss out on future content. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.